Okay, so thank you so much for joining us for today's Q&A session with UB's MS in Management Faculty Director, Professor Marla Kameny. Thank you so much for submitting the questions during the registration process, and we appreciate you taking the time to join our session today. And we will cover them before we open it up to other questions. So the first few questions are admissions related, which I will answer. So the first question is the GMAT or GRE required? No. UB School of Management uses a test optional admissions process. So you may upload a GMAT or GRE score, but you are not required to do so. And then the next question we have is the application fee waived? No, we do not offer application fee waivers. The application fee is $100. So you do have to pay that in order for your application to be reviewed. The next question that we have is the program a STEM program? No, this is not a STEM designated program. It does offer 12 months of OPT for international students, however. And then Marla, how long is the program and when do classes begin?
Okay. So the program is 11 months and it will be starting in summer of 2025, around the first week in July. And then it goes until May. So it is a summer, fall, spring program, which is wonderful because it coincides with our other master's programs. So it's kind of nice to have a little bit of a community where you're all taking classes at the same time for our master's students. Not our MBAs, that's different, but we'll get into that. So yeah, that's roughly how long it'll be.
Great, thank you, Marla. And then are there course prerequisites and is work experience required?
Okay, so there are definitely no course prerequisites and definitely no work experience required. And this kind of gets into the difference between the MBA and the Master's of Science in Management. But in this case, particularly for the MS in Management, what we're looking for in terms of an applicant is someone who does not have a business background. That's what's so wonderful about this program, that you'll use it to complement your undergraduate studies. If it was in arts and sciences, humanities, the hard sciences, whatever it may be, this MS in Management really gives you a solid foundation of business fundamentals like marketing, operations, strategic management, accounting and finance, a little bit of that. So, and then you have electives to choose from, which really allows you to tailor what you'd like to focus on. So, with 30 credits, it's really a, compact program, which will just broaden your business horizons and, get you ready to enter your professional career.
Thanks so much, Marla. And when you are looking at applicants to the MS in Management program, do you have any tips on what an applicant could do to stand out and what would be a competitive application?
Yeah, I think it's really just, a willingness to differentiate yourself with what this degree has to offer. This will be our second cohort, and so it'll be the second year that we'll offer this program. And I can say at least within this first year, a lot of the applicants really wanted to figure out how they could differentiate themselves with this 1-year degree in conjunction with their undergraduate studies. That was something that, when you have a degree and you're not really sure what you want to do, this is something that could bring you to that next level and really help you figure out career-wise what you'd like to do. So even if you're a history major or a psychology major, something like this degree can really help you figure out what you'd like to do when you enter the workforce.
Absolutely. And we always like to mention that this is a great way to enhance your marketability really in any field. So regardless of which industry or field that you're interested in, leadership and management skills are transferable to those areas as well. So thanks, Marla. Mm-hmm. And then the next question we have, Marla, is can you provide more details on the MS in Management curriculum and the pathway focus areas?
Yes. So basically, as I mentioned, it's a 30 credit and there are 10 classes. So you do have, like I said, the core classes, and that would be like about teams and management communication. You have financial analysis, which is a little bit of accounting and finance. Don't freak out. It's not, something hardcore. But then you also have business operations, strategic and change management, and also marketing foundation. So you really have a good solid core, 18 credits of core classes. And then you would have in your fall and spring semester. So in your summer, you'll take 2 core classes. In the fall and spring, you'll take 2 core and 2 elective. And in the spring, you'll have 2 core and 2 elective. So with those 4 electives, this is where you really can decide what you'd like to focus on. And I'm going to share a pathways. Okay, so I think everyone's seeing this now. So these are just pathways. Again, these are not formal concentrations. You don't have to declare anything saying, I want to focus on leadership or marketing or HR or healthcare. But here, just so you know, and this was put together in conjunction with our Career Resource Center, which is a wonderful, wonderful resource that you'll have as an MS in management student. It's the same resource center. It is specifically for the School of Management in terms of our Career Resource Center. It's just with us, and they really can offer a lot of guidance and help when it comes to figuring out what you'd like to do. So here are these pathways. We have business operations, entrepreneurship, healthcare, human resources, marketing, and org leadership. And it doesn't mean that you have to only choose 4 classes within each. It is just giving you a sense of how you can navigate your way. And this is something where you'll have an advisor who can help you personally. Not that is not even in the Career Resource Center. So you'll have an advisor. You have the Career Resource Center itself. You have me. You have Meg. You have a lot of resources to use when you decide what are those 4 classes you want to take. So I don't want to rattle off names, but it's just something that here, under electives, this is where the course names that you'll see. So just generally business operations, you could take project management, business of healthcare, sustainable operations, purchasing and supply management. Under org leadership, for instance, if you really want to focus on that management, what Meg referred to as before, right? These transferable skills of leadership and management, you can really focus on things like emotional intelligence, power and influence, theory and practice, negotiation, workforce engagement. So really a lot of wonderful choices. And this is something that is on, actually, Meg, I don't know, maybe if this is something you could send to any student who's interested. Okay, great. There's people to feel that they couldn't have this as a resource. So that is something that in terms of the curriculum and the pathway focus areas, it's really your core, the 4 electives, and how they all kind of come together. And at the end, in the spring, the plan is to have strategic and change management and leadership and ethics, which are really kind of the 2, one certainly the leadership and ethics we're looking at as the capstone potentially, but it's really kind of bringing it all together, right? Because you need leadership. And even if you focus on more business operations, well, whatever job you end up having, you will have to lead in some way, shape, or form. So, and ethically, of course. So, no, it's very exciting. I'm very excited for the program, and for hopefully you who are watching this, and you, Scribanti, who are on with us now, that we can welcome you in the summer of 25.
Absolutely. I think something that's really special about this program is that it offers our students the flexibility to kind of customize their degree program by either choosing a few different electives that are in different pathway areas, or choosing to focus all 4 of their electives on one specific pathway area. So that's a great part of our MS in management program for sure.
Definitely. And I also just want to point out, it mentions here some student clubs, right? I mean, this is just something in general when you arrive in the summer. There's so much that we can offer in terms of involvement within that 11 months that you're here. And that's another advantage, I think, as well, to the School of Management, between our Career Resource Center, our clubs, and just, being really able to immerse yourself, in what we have beyond the coursework.
Absolutely. And in the 11 months, there are so much that you can do to be engaged on campus and really to expand your network by joining these student clubs, meeting other students that are interested in the same topics as you, um, connecting with alumni through our Career Resource Center. These are all fantastic ways to broaden your network and learn from each other. Okay, and then we also have a few questions that were submitted by students
Mhm.
during the registration for this event, Marla. So I will ask those next, and then we can open up for any other questions that our participants may have. So the next question is, how is the MSM different than the full-time MBA program?
Okay. So fundamentally, it's time. The full-time MBA is 2 full years, and usually the summer in between, you engage in an internship of some sort, some type of experience. And the MSM is only 11 months, 1 year. And there is no internship, but I don't think you have to worry so much about that. It really is intended, for a different audience. And again, the MBAs usually have, on average, some work experience before 1 to 3 years. It depends certainly on the applicant. Okay, as far as what work experience you have, the MSM, no work experience required. It's really intended again for students who do not have an undergraduate business degree. And I don't want to say it's less rigorous, but the MBA is a little bit more rigorous, even in its core. It's a little bit more technical, a little bit more quantitative. Not saying that you won't be dealing with numbers in the MSM, but it is, again, intended for a different audience. So that is just some fundamental differences. You still cover the same subject area in terms of having a core and then electives. I would say in terms of the job opportunities for full-time and MSM, because you're not so focused, they certainly are different. And this is where I don't want to speak for the Career Resource Center, but I know that when you arrive, they'll be able to give some differences in terms of jobs that you can apply for, like maybe a management training program could be good with the MSM. Possibly it depends on the organization itself, what they're looking for. So, it's hard to say. And I would say that, money wise, maybe again, because you would with the MBAs, you would have more work experience going into. So I would assume it's a higher potential, but it's also another difference. It's a lot more expensive. And that's okay because it's the degree is in itself serves its purpose. I have an MBA, so I know the value of an MBA. I also know the value of an MSM as well. So it may not be the earnings potential as high, but it's understandable. But you're certainly in a better position with an MSM than you are with just your undergraduate degree. So I think that I can't put numbers on it, but I think that's the fundamental differences between the MSM and the MBA.
Absolutely. And really based on MS and management students' passions and what they're looking for out of their career, our Career Resource Center is fantastic. You'll have an MS and management career coach that will work with you to really figure out what it is you're looking for when choosing the next step in your career.
Yeah.
All right. So at this time, that's all the questions that we have for the Q&A. So Srabanti, if you have any questions, feel free to either type those in the chat for us, or you can unmute and ask them now.
Hello, I wanted to know the deadline, priority deadline of the MSM program.
The deadline. Okay, so we have a few different rounds for the deadline. So for summer 2025, the first deadline and the priority deadline for scholarship consideration is going to be January 15th. And then the next deadline, this will be the final deadline for international applicants, is going to be March 1st. And then June 1st of 2025 will be the final deadline for US citizens and current UB F1 visa holder applicants.